Good morning to you guys here on YouTube. It is September 2nd, 2025 here, and we've got a lot to talk about here. This is mostly going to be a tropics video here because there's a lot of things that I want to run over with you guys. We're also going to talk about a severe weather uptrend today into tomorrow, as well as we go into next week, and we're just going to talk about our global pattern as we go into next week and into the month of September here. So mostly, like I said, most of this video will be a tropics forecast. So if you don't want to know about the tropics, you can skip to the end of the video if you want to, but most of this will be a tropics video because, like I said, there's just a lot of stuff going on in the tropics here. So, and those will have implications on the United States weather as we go into next week and the end of this week. So we'll start out on the screen here with what we've got here. This is satellite imagery here. We can see not a lot going on, a little bit of an upper level disturbance up here into portions of central Minnesota. That's going to help set today's severe weather threat up there. Well, we do have an all hazards low end severe weather threat, mostly damaging winds and hail with a brief weak tornado possible somewhere in southern Minnesota this afternoon. Upper level low up here into Canada as well moving out, which caused for some storms up there yesterday. And then really majority of the central plains here looking pretty quiet for today. That's going to change as we go into tomorrow. We've also got a little disturbance here across the Ohio River Valley. It's going to bring some showers and some thunderstorms, little pulse of energy here into Kentucky, Missouri, Illinois, portions of Tennessee and Arkansas, and down toward the southeast later on today as well. Not looking at really any severe weather, just general thunderstorms there, and then that subtropical jet stream still staying in place here across portions of the Gulf and then moving into Florida. There could be some thunderstorms down in Florida today. I think today's going to be a lesser day for convection because that low that was causing the thunderstorms yesterday is officially to the east now, but there still will be some general thunderstorms out there. And we're also going to be watching down here towards Baja California, where we could see our first hurricane landfall in many years up in that area. So we're going to be watching that here for you guys down there as well, and then that will bring some implications toward the United States as we go towards the end of this week and into the weekend here. So we'll go ahead and break that down for you guys now. We'll start out with the tropics here, and we do have our tropical wave that is sitting just to the southwest here at the Cape Verde Islands. You can see starting to really get more convection ongoing here, and what that's going to do, let me actually switch my screen back here so you guys can see. There we go. What this is actually going to do is start to gradually and slowly develop. And so we're going to start to see potentially a tropical depression develop by, I would say, in the next 48 to 72 hours, maybe a little bit later than that. I want you guys to remember, as we talked about yesterday in my video, longer track, weaker system is going to progress westward a little bit more before it starts to gain latitude and strengthen. A stronger system will pull further north, and we do have some model discrepancies still on what's going to happen with this. And I'm not officially saying this is going to be an out to fish, a fish storm or an out to sea storm quite yet, because we do still have some guidance that could allow for some things to change in the next 7 to 10 days with this forecast. So, and it's not even really a forecast yet. We're really just watching this. So I would expect the National Hurricane Center to give this an invest here, maybe by the end of today, if not by early tomorrow morning. We have a 70% chance now of this developing into a tropical cyclone in the next 7 days. So we're going to be watching this very closely as well. That wave that was coming up behind our what will more than likely be Gabrielle here did in fact fizzle out. So that happens, especially when you've got some dry air to the north and you have a tut pulling it to the north as well. So not a lot going on behind it, but there is another wave that we're going to be watching that could be becoming behind our set system for this week into next week. So besides the Atlantic, I'll go back to here and talk about our system here in just a minute. I also, guys, want you to see this. This is Tropical Depression 12. This is just southwest of Mexico, and this is actually going to form into a tropical storm here in the next day or two and work its way northeast up towards Baja California, where we are expecting a landfalling tropical storm or low-end hurricane. If this were to, rapidly intensify, which is very possible given the water temperatures that are out there in the favorable environment, we could see something even higher than that out of this situation, and that's going to bring a lot of moisture up into the Four Corners and the central and southern plains at the end of this week, where we could have some flooding into Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona. We're going to have those monsoon rains ongoing. There may even be a couple instances of some weak, brief tornadoes down towards those areas there, where we could see some severe weather setups into next week, where this kind of elongates with a trough, and we'll talk about what that looks like here in a minute. I briefly want to run over the forecast here for Tropical Storm 12, and actually we believe we just got this upgraded to a tropical storm. So that just happened as of now. So we now have a tropical storm is what it looks to be here. This morning here, I should say, at least on the next advisory here. So we'll wait for that to come in. Yeah, this just got upgraded to a tropical storm because the newest hurricane track hasn't even came in yet. So here's the latest track as I'm making this video. We'll have an update on the stream later on, but this does in fact make tropical storm status. Clearly now it is a tropical storm, may even make a run at a hurricane, and then we'll make landfall in central Baja California, and then all of this moisture is going to get surged to the north, and we will have implications on United States weather as we go towards Saturday, Sunday, and the beginning of next week. You guys can also see here as well, I'll go back where we've got the spaghetti plots. we've got hurricane potential, guys. We may have a hurricane making landfall in Baja California, moving up into Mexico at the end of this week, and we will be live covering that on Friday as that does happen. So something we're going to be watching very, very closely for you guys. Those are just some of the intensity models, and you can even see the hurricane track guidance here, pulling this thing to the east-northeast. Like I said, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, even down towards Oklahoma, we're going to have to watch for some flooding potential as we go toward the end of the week, where the moisture will get surged northward here. So once again, breaking news now here officially, Tropical Storm 12 now has developed. This will eventually get the L name, I believe, of Lorenzo. I'll have to double check on that and make sure, but I believe that is the next name for the Pacific. The Atlantic Ocean names and the Pacific Ocean names are completely different. So that is why we're already going through the L name, because we've had so many storms already this year. We actually have our K name storm are still to the west over there, and that could also bring some implications to Hawaii. So we'll go ahead and talk about that here. We've got Tropical Storm Kiko and now Tropical Storm Lorenzo. Tropical Storm Kiko here could actually work its way towards portions of Hawaii by the end of this weekend, going into next week as well. And the ensembles and some of the models have that as well. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Once we get a little bit closer, we'll talk more about that. But that cone officially staying west, becoming a hurricane here by this afternoon, and then working its way west northwestward as well there. So once again, something we're going to be watching here very, very closely for you guys. I also meant to show you guys before I lose my mind and we go to the ensembles here. Here's the Atlantic. We've got a high risk now for tropical cyclone development here as the 8 o'clock advisory this morning, a 30% chance of a tropical storm developing here in the next really 48 hours, very low in chance, and then a 70% chance in the next 7 days here as this will gradually start to progress westward here, northwestward. Like I said, a lot of discrepancy on is it going to go west? Is it going to go northwest? Is it going to go out to sea? Most of the guidance does point to an out to sea recurve, kind of like Aaron and Fernand, but we all know with what happened with Aaron is it was forecasted to take a right-hand turn a lot quicker, and it took a little bit longer because of the sheer size and magnitude of what the storm strength was. So it's something we're going to have to watch. We take these ensembles with a grain of salt, but they do help us forecast a little bit more. And I want you guys to pay attention to the difference already. This is the GFS ensembles for this morning. You can see some of them take this further west. Most of them take this further to the northwest. We'll have to see this thing gain latitude pretty quickly if it's going to do that. So we'll be watching here, and you even get some redeveloping potential as this gets closer to maybe the Bahamas, as far east as way out here in the central, Atlantic. There's just a lot of divergence in where this is going to go here over the next 7+ days, and this is all the way through Monday the 15th. So we're going to be watching this storm, guys, for the next 2 weeks. That's what it looks to be, as we've been talking for the last day or two now on this event. So a lot of discrepancy on where this is going to go. Hopefully we'll know by the end of this week on where we could see this potentially recurve at, and eventually as we get our first hurricane cone in as well at the end of the week, we'll start to see kind of where this wiggle wobbles and goes to. So also we're still watching for the potential for a impact low pressure to develop somewhere in the Caribbean, potentially towards next week. Some of the ensembles are still showing signs of that. So if we were to get something in the Caribbean or the Yucatan or down towards the Gulf next week, we'll be letting you guys know, and we'll be covering that as well if something were to happen with that. Now, those are the latest GFS ensembles. Now, I want you guys to remember here, these are ensembles. They don't tell the full story as well as dermatistic runs do as well, but they do give us a better idea on where we could see the potential strengthening or where this could go in a long-term wise. So, but these do change and update every 6 hours, so that's something to make note of here. Also, taking a look at the European ensembles, a lot bigger of a difference here. Most of the GFS ensembles had this thing curled all the way out to sea here. The European ensembles are a lot different. They see a little bit of a stronger ridge, allowing for a weaker system to push west. Therefore, land interaction may be possible for Puerto Rico, the Lesser Antilles, the Leeward Islands here. If you're anywhere out here in these Leeward Islands, you need to be watching the system very closely. It's not panic mode, but when you have a group of European ensembles that do show most of them kind of in that direction, kind of like Aaron was, if not closer, that's going to be an issue. And we just got through seeing heavy rainfall with Aaron not even 2 weeks ago. And where does it go after this? We'll have to wait to see the European adjust as we go through the next couple of days here. Also, the European did note here to back off on a little bit of the potential for a system next week, but that can change again as we go through time, and we may even see another wave coming off the coast after that. So a lot of things to watch in terms of where this next system is going to go, and we're going to be watching it every single day. We're going to be keeping you guys updated on it every single day, and make sure you guys just stay tuned here to the channel. Also, if you are new to the channel, if you guys have not subscribed yet, do click that bell icon at the bottom there and hit that sub button. I do appreciate it very, very much. You're not wasting a sub, I promise. It is definitely worth it at the end of the day to be here on the channel. I appreciate you guys. Let's start out with our severe weather threat here as well that we've got for today. We do have a low and marginal risk for severe weather back here into central and western Minnesota, southeastern portions of North Dakota, and eastern South Dakota, where the threat for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour are possible, as well as 1 to 2 inch diameter hail, both 5% there, less than 2% tornado risk, but not zero. So we could see always with any type of severe weather threat a low in chance at a tornado. And then we get to tomorrow. Now we probably will be in severe weather coverage mode tomorrow, just given given the hatched significant hail threat tomorrow for portions of Wichita, Kansas. We do have a marginal risk that extends from central Missouri back down here into southeast Kansas, northwestern Oklahoma, and northern Texas Panhandle, with a level 1 risk in the dark green and then a level 2 slight risk here. And there actually is a chance of a couple of tornadoes. We're going to have a colder air mass that's going to be coming down out of Canada, and sometimes when you get enough cold air, you can get those hailstorms or those hailstones to, stay up in the atmosphere a lot longer and strengthen in size. So we do have a hatched hail area threat for tomorrow across that shaded yellow region there, basically meaning 2-inch plus diameter hail. And then with the outflow boundaries that work with these storms, we could see a couple of tornadoes there in that slight risk and marginal risk. So if you're in Wichita down towards the Liberal area and all the way up to Kansas City, Missouri, and into Springfield, you need to be watching tomorrow. But that little 2% tour risk really more confined towards Wichita, Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, Lawrence, Hutchinson, and Emporia. And then we've also got that slight risk for wind and the 5% for wind there for winds up to 70, and then that hail threat being hatched there for Wichita, meaning we could see hail in excess of 2 inches in diameter. Everybody else would be 1 to 2 inches. So a pretty interesting day tomorrow, and we'll talk about what that looks like here on Futurecast in just a moment. We've also got a marginal risk on the day 3 here as that frontal system moves through. We're going to have a low and severe weather threat from western and central Pennsylvania, from Pittsburgh all the way down through West Virginia, and eastern Kentucky and eastern Ohio. So low and threat for wind and hail again on the day 3. And then as we go through the day 4 through 8, not a lot going on either here. So we're going to keep things severe weather-wise pretty limited overall, but I do think severe weather could return for these areas right here as we go towards the weekend, just because of that low pressure that's going to be moving off, that tropical moisture coming in. A lot of the times these lows can kind of develop into a shortwave trough, allow for moisture to be pulled up from the Gulf, already bringing moisture in itself, and then instability. And you can get a little bit of spin with these lows, and sometimes you can get some isolated brief weak tornadoes as well as some damaging winds and some small hail. So something we'll be watching for as we go into the week. I'm also going to be watching for a new trough coming in. We'll talk about what that looks like here in just a moment. Taking a look at the Futurecast for tomorrow here. Pretty nice day today. Not a lot going on. General thunderstorms across the Ohio River Valley and elsewhere that has that general thunderstorm risk back on the day 1 forecast. We start to see that boundary move through with a cold front coming in through tomorrow morning here, and that's going to set the stage for a couple of supercells that could pop up once again for the threat for large hail up to 2+ inches in diameter. Some of these could have the damaging wind threat of up to 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then that a couple of tornadoes are going to be possible from Wichita eastward. So once again, that looks to be initiating around 3-4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then moving through and fizzling out by around 11 p.m. to midnight tomorrow. So a pretty short window, about 6 to 7 hour window tomorrow. We could see these storms, but they will be northwest to southeast movers. So something we'll have to watch as well as these, progress southeastward tomorrow. And then after that, things will be moving out and we'll be seeing that cold front officially come through. Now, let's talk about that global pattern here and what's going to be happening here over the next couple of weeks here. As we were talking yesterday, pretty decent flow here, northwesterly to southeasterly flow. You can see that cold air already starting to work its way into the picture here out of Canada. We're going to see this huge bowling ball trough come down, and that's going to allow for those below average temperatures to continue through Thursday, through Friday, through Saturday, through Sunday. And then you can also see on the bottom left of your screen, there is our potential tropical storm slash what could be even become a hurricane making landfall in Baja California either on Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon. Timing on that still a little bit to be determined on, and that moisture is actually going to get pulled, as I mentioned, northwestward. So as this cold front moves out next weekend, we're going to see this little low pressure develop and broaden out here, and we could see a couple of inches of rain down here into Texas and Oklahoma. Definitely possible. Some flooding will be possible as well. We'll talk more about that as we get closer to that event, but we're also going to have the threat for maybe some low and severe weather with some instability that'll be hanging around coming out of the Gulf. So something to make note of. And then I also want you guys to pay attention as we go into Sunday and Monday. We're going to start to see some significant troughing move off the West Pacific, and that's going to help get our jet stream amplified, and we may start to see the return for some higher threats for severe weather as we go towards next week. A little still far off. You've got these little divots in the jet stream here. This one here could allow for some severe weather on the Ohio River Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and the East Coast next week. And then we even could be seeing a more substantial weather pattern developing as we go towards the beginning and middle of next week. So about 7 days out, we're going to watch it. We'll keep you guys updated. But typically when you start to see the jet stream get active, there usually is severe weather associated with it at some point in time. So something we'll be watching very, very closely for you guys here as well. So one more thing I will show you guys before we wrap the video up here for today is going to be just those QPF totals. And I mentioned the heavy rainfall potentially going to be an issue as we go through the next couple of days here. And this is going to be through next Wednesday. The GFS has predicted, trend here. We could see most of the heaviest of the rainfall down here towards western Mexico, southwestern Mexico, and Baja California, where anywhere from 8 to, I would even say 20 inches of rainfall could be on the table here with that tropical cyclone that's going to be moving in. And then eventually you can see that moisture gets pulled into Arizona, New Mexico, Texas here, and eventually we could see that system get tangled up with another boundary next week, and we actually could see some flooding potentially again in Oklahoma or in portions of Texas, and maybe even in western Arkansas and southwestern portions of Missouri. And then another front will be coming through, giving us the threat for some heavy rainfall next week again in the Ohio River Valley. So a lot of things to watch, guys. We've got the tropics on both ends we're watching as well. We've got severe weather we're watching, and we've got a cool temperature trend this week, but above average temperature trend next week as we start to see September come back to life in terms of the warm, humid heat. So we'll keep you guys updated as always. Stay safe, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.